Good morning, students. Welcome to another lesson. Today we're going to continue with the Global English book. Let's start without any further ado. We will begin with another unit today, Summer Season. We're going to deal with compound nouns, past modals, and indirect and embedded questions. Let's start. Let's warm up with the first exercise. You have some pictures above, and then you have vocabulary that we need to combine together to make compound nouns. So we're going to use one of these words in the first column with another one from the second column. So you know that compound always means two or more, like we had in compound adjectives as well, when we combine two to make one. So here we're going to have the answers. The first one is going to be first aid kit. The second one is going to be sun cream. The third one is going to be insect repellent. Number 4 is going to be sun hat. 5, cool box. Number 6, you would have picnic basket, and finally folding chair. Now with exercise 3 on page 137, there are words given above, and below them there are some texts of people speaking. So we need to put these words in these blanks. So I think camping holidays are the best because you spend a lot of time outside in the fresh air. It's so nice to be outside after spending a lot of time inside during the school term. The other thing is that you can play table tennis and football. You can go swimming, that kind of thing. You never get bored. Now Martin will speak and say, camping holidays aren't really for me. You get bitten by insects, it's too hot at night, and there might be a spider in your sleeping bag. It's very uncomfortable. And there could be wolves or bears prowling around. And barbecues aren't much fun because Dad always burns the food. I'd rather stay at home. Now, Eugenia will speak. Sea, sun, and sand. What more do you need? When you spend all day on the beach and in the sea, you feel really relaxed. And you can lie under the sunshade and read a book or text your friends. It can be quite sociable because it's easy to make new friends there. To complete this page, we will solve the last exercise here, which is number 4. There are some questions that we need to answer quickly. Which two people would get on well, Elizabeth, Martin, or Eugenia? We know already that Martin doesn't like whatever is happening there, so we would say Elizabeth and Eugenia. Number 2, who likes to take it easy on holidays? This will be Eugenia. The third one, there are words and we have to describe those people with these words. Who is being cautious? We would say it's Martin. Elizabeth is the active one, and Eugenia is the extrovert. Then finally, we have number 4. This question could be answered in your own way. Whatever you answer wouldn't be wrong at all. Here we have a very easy and important thing at the same time, which is past modals. We already dealt with some modals before, like the ones that show modality. They show ability, permission, possibility, necessity, all the things that we explained, like can, may, should. Here we will have only the ones that refer to the past. So the first one is when you express regret and criticism. Okay, so for those two purposes, regret and criticism, you would use should have or shouldn't have. plus the past participle. So you would have the sentence, you should have come with us. You know that the speaker here is feeling regret that the person didn't come with them. So he feels sorry for that. While you can say for criticism, for example, if somebody did something that you didn't like, you can tell him, you should have not done that, or you shouldn't have done that. So in this way, you are criticizing him for what he did. After that, we will have something different. It's using two other modals, could have and would have. Why do we use them? When we talk about things that were possible but didn't happen. So it was planned or possible to happen, but for some reason they didn't happen. So an example for that would be, you could have done better in your test. You see, you could have done better. It could have happened, but it didn't happen. The guy failed. While you can say also for, you would have learned important things there. See, again, something that was possible to happen if he went there or something, but it didn't happen for some reason. Exercise 5 on page 139 will make this topic very easy. So let's solve these sentences. The first one is already solved. I didn't know you were free last Saturday. We could have gone bowling. Why did we use could have? Because in this case, we are saying things that were possible to happen but didn't happen for some reason. He didn't know that he was free. Number 2, you've been bitten. You, of course, we should have put on some insect repellent. See, in this case, you're criticizing him because he didn't put it, so should have put on. Number 3, we dashed the burgers on the campfire for so long. They were all burnt. So we say we shouldn't have left. Again, it's used for criticism. They're criticizing themselves in this case, or even feeling sorry about it. Number 4, the music was so good at the party that I could have danced all night. But he didn't dance all night, so it was possible to happen but didn't happen. Number 5, my stomach hurts. I shouldn't have eaten so much cake. Regret again. Last one. You should have watched the program about extreme sports. You would have enjoyed. We will move on to a very tricky topic here. Many people get baffled with it. They commit mistakes. So it's indirect and embedded questions. What does that mean? When you want to make your question more polite, you start the question with phrases like, do you know, or could you tell me? So why do we do this? To make our question more polite. Of course, if you add please by the end of it, it would be even more polite. So why do we call it indirect or embedded? Because you're not giving the question directly. You don't tell him, for example, where's the museum? Because in this case, you would sound a little bit rude. So saying, do you know where the museum is, please? In this case, you would sound more polite. So the example here, could you tell me where the citadel is, please? So if you look carefully on this sentence, you would notice that there is something different. It's not like the ordinary question. If you ask the ordinary question, it would have been, where is the citadel? So now you notice that where the citadel is. So remember to change the word order when using these phrases. What time is breakfast? That's the real question. But if I want to make it indirect, I would say, could you tell me what time breakfast is? You see, I changed the word order. is went to the end and breakfast before it. So you always make this inversion between the verb and the noun. Also with the subject, indirect and embedded questions, remember that we never use do, does, or did with these embedded questions. So if you have the regular question without the embedded one, what time do you want it? This is a direct question, yes? If you want to do it embedded, the sentence will be, you need to tell me what time you want it. Notice that we deleted do. Why? That's the rule. We never use do, does, did with embedded questions. So it would be wrong to say, you need to tell me what time do you want it. That's completely wrong. Another example here, what time does the bus leave? I cannot say, do you know what time does the bus leave? This will be wrong. We never use do, does, did. So I will say, do you know what time the bus leaves? Notice that we added the S to the verb, of course, to make the subject-verb agreement. Now, when we use embedded questions with yes-no questions, not the questions that need information. So in the case of yes and no questions, for example, did you go there? The answer would be yes. So that's yes and no questions. We use if or whether. So the direct question would be, is there a bus into town? That's a direct question, a very clear one. If you want to make it embedded, you would say, do you know if or whether both of them could work? Do you know if there is a bus into town? Notice that we didn't say, do you know if is there a bus into town? Because again, the agreement or sorry, the inversion should happen. The other example, is there a swimming pool at the hotel? This one is a direct question. The embedded one will be, I wonder if there is a swimming pool at the hotel. So you have if again. Why do we use it? Because it's a yes, no question. The answer could simply be yes or no. Exercise 3 is very important. It will explain the whole thing that we were explaining here. So the direct question for the first one is, what is the time? The embedded question will be, I wonder what the time is. See? So we have the inversion, time is, not what is the time. So number 2, where is the tourist information office? This is the direct question. If I want to make it polite, embedded, I will say, can you tell me where the tourist information office is? Number 3, where can I get a map? We would say, could you tell me where I can get a map? Number 4, where did I put my key? I would say, I can't remember where I put my key. Notice here that we have did, but we deleted it because we cannot use do, does, did with these embedded questions. Number 5, is there a tennis table? So I would say, I wonder if there is a table tennis table. So we used if. Why? Because this is a yes-no question. Number 6, is breakfast included in the price of the room? We would say, do you know if breakfast is included in the price of the room? Completing all the explanations in the course book, now we're going to move on to the workbook. We will solve exercise number 2 on page 102. Why? This exercise deals with should have, shouldn't have, would have, and could have. All these are very important to us. So we will combine these columns that we have to make a correct sentence. Here are the right answers. I'm not surprised that you were tired. You shouldn't have stayed up so late. This is criticism. He's telling him that this shouldn't happen. Number 2, I've got stomachache. I shouldn't have eaten so much at the barbecue. Regrets. Number 3, I wish I had chosen the nature craft activity because I would have enjoyed making things out of wood and leaves. Remember, why do we use could have and would have? To say that things were possible to happen, but they didn't happen. Number 4, if the weather hadn't been so horrible, we wouldn't have come home early. Number 5, and the last one, we would say, if they'd chosen an activity holiday, they could have climbed through the trees on high ropes and gone on a night canoeing trip. So again, here you're saying things that were possible to happen, but they didn't happen. Also with the workbook, exercise 1, page 104, we have some questions that are correct, but they need to be more polite. So we need to change them into indirect and embedded questions. So when we solve this, remember the 3 rules. First, you have to change the order, the inversion I mean, and of course, you will not use do, does, did with these type of questions. And finally, remember that when you have yes and no questions, you will use if or whether. So here are the answers for you. Do you know if there has been a phone message for me? Could you tell me what time breakfast is served? So in this case, you will not say like the original question, which was what time is breakfast served? Here you say, could you tell me what time breakfast is served? So number 3, could you tell me if there is a bus stop near the hotel? Number 4, do you know how much a taxi to a station would cost? 5, could you tell me if the restaurant serves dinner on Sunday evenings? Finally, do you know where the nearest shopping center is? For exercise 2, on the same page, we have some thoughts. We need to change them to real questions, of course, using indirect and embedded questions. So the first one will be, I wonder what the hotel will be like. Okay, it's different from the original one. What will the hotel be like? You see the inversion, the difference between the two? Number 2, I don't know if dinner is included in the price. We use I don't know here. Number 3, I wonder why the receptionist was so unhelpful. All of these examples, you can copy them and study them in the light of what we already explained. Today's lesson is over. I hope you understood everything that was being explained. See you next time and thank you.